So, hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Physical Therapy Private Practice Secrets of the Top 10%. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm your host, and today we're going to talk about how you can better manage your operating expenses. As we're moving forward through 2021, operating expenses have become an increasingly more challenging problem for many practices, especially on the East Coast, I would think. Some of my West Coast, Midwest clinics, not so much, but overall, it's increasing, right? It's increasing overall. So personal growth idea, PGI, number one, let's just hop right into it because, the last couple of weeks, I've really soaked some time into helping you with your mindset and really getting present in what's going on in our society and in our practice and with our staff. And so right now, I want to give you this personal growth idea that you are in charge. Okay, I definitely want everybody to grasp that idea. Do not go the effect of your personnel, of your community, of society, of the media. Enough of that. Enough of all of that noise. Shut off the TV. Stop watching the news. Stop listening to that kind of stuff. Practice in accordance with the APTA Guide to Physical Therapy Best Practices. Practice in accordance to Secrets of the Top 10%. What we're talking about here, what we're teaching you here. Align your efforts with the mainstream standard operating processes or standard operating procedures that are in the best interest of your patients, your staff, your referral sources, yourself, and your community. If we're going to create the ideal exchange and abundance environment, work company culture going both ways, well, you have to have the doors open. So you have to manage your operating expenses. If you don't manage your operating expenses and you don't maintain a steady flow of income that's continuously increasing over time, not staying the same, trust me, if your income level coming in that clinic month after month after month is same, you're shrinking, because your operating expenses are constantly going up. So if we're going to create that environment, we have to address these operating expenses. So let's pick up some of these operating expenses. Let's go from top to bottom. I'll give you a few that you can run with, and I'll give you some solutions and suggestions of what you can do about it. So what is the largest operating expense we have in our practice? It's obviously payroll. What part of payroll is the largest? Obviously the clinical side of it. So if we're going to maintain our ability to grow and outpace yesterday, because that's what a CEO does. A CEO puts in structure, personnel, and systems of managing the personnel within that structure so that they can successfully grow the practice, which is called scaling within your four walls. You have to constantly be scaling your practice within those four walls. So if we have stagnant growth, stagnant income, we need to look at our individuals first. We need to go back to our basic metrics and say, is every single clinician here who's working day in and day out, are they 85% efficient in accordance to the schedule that we're abiding by? Now, I don't care if you're seeing patients every 30 minutes and they stay 55, 60 minutes, which is absolutely the best schedule in the country. Looking at this operating expense of payroll and clinicians, as I just said, you have to look at clinical efficiency. You have to do it based on the schedule that you've employed inside your clinic. So whatever schedule that is that you've employed inside your clinic, you've got to run the numbers. What is 85% of that? Second thing is production. There's not a physical therapist on planet Earth that does billing. Okay, so when we have a billing company, right, and we have hundreds of offices nationwide, and we take 5 to 6 new offices every month, and then we put a stop on it, and then we take another 5 or 6 and put a stop on it. And we'll manage and do the billing and collections for practices across the nation, no matter what EMR system you want to come to us with. And one of the things we will coach you on is that your physical therapists are not responsible for billing. They're not billers. They didn't go to school for billing. That's not what they do. What they do is they treat the patient. They then document in a note what they did and how they did it and what the results were and what the reactions were by the patient. And then they have to put down CPT codes, ICD-10 codes, to digitally represent their assessment and the care that they gave within that session. That's it. Those codes have to be balanced out against the note and against the direct and indirect time in which the professional spent with the patient. As long as those codes balance out against the time spent, the care given, you're good. They have to meet the bar of medical necessity, and they have to be justifiable within the Practice Act. You're good. So for those of you who are so hung up and wrapped around Medicare and so concerned, you don't need to be. That is just a fallacy. It's what you don't know. And I say this all the time. It's what you don't know that keeps you back from the level of success you're trying to achieve. It's what you don't know that keeps you small. It's what you don't know that gives you fear. It's the mystery. So you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your staff to get the knowledge and education you can so you can fight the fight with what is required documentation-wise. What is appropriate utilization of care? What is the appropriate treatment frequency and efficiency? That is how you're going to get your production to where it needs to be. 3.75 units of care with each and every engagement, because those are the two reasons why you went to PT school. Help as many people in your community and give as abundance of care with each and every engagement you can. I felt blessed every single day as a therapist. I literally felt like heartfelt, like I was chosen by the patient, because I knew there were 12 other clinics within 2 miles of me. And these patients could have gone to any one of those clinics, but they chose to go to my office and they chose to see Brian Gallagher and they wanted to see me caring for them. And so I owed it to them to give everything and throw it all in there in the kitchen sink included. And I needed to do it so that they were raving about their care, so that they felt like, man, this is the best care I ever got. And they would tell their friends and their neighbors and their family members and their doctor about it. So much so I could write them a Dear Doctor letter, put it in an envelope, and they could hand deliver it. That's another tip for professional success. If you don't have every single one of your patients hand delivering a Dear Doctor letter back to their doctor on every follow-up session, that's a huge missed opportunity. Huge. We have a whole Dear Doctor formatted letter that we have in Meg Academy for all of our Meg Academy clients. You guys absolutely are using those, and I'm sure you're winning big time with those because they're a bit typed out and a bit handwritten, very quick, very efficient, very effective. So, third thing to increase the income clinically is get the quality of care up. Get the quality of care up, because that therapist will never be in a shortage of patients, because every single patient, like 65%, third tip for professional success, 65% of all your evals per month should be return business. That's a patient who's been here before, a friend, family member, coworker, peer of a patient who's been here before. That's all considered return business. So please coach your therapist, coach your staff on how to increase the number of new patients based on return business. So if you hit those three metrics that I just described clinically, you're not going to have an income problem. You're just not on the clinical side. Administratively, what we want to do is we want to make sure we change the mental culture from people coming in saying, I got to get my hours. Nobody comes to work having to get their hours. They're not coming here to exchange time for money. They're coming here to get their product. So you want to see increased income on your administrative side, coach them on what their products are and put it in front of them every week and have them track statistically using their own statistical spreadsheet with their own resulting graphs every week, their performance. Okay. Once you have that, they're going to be self-motivated, you hope, or you hired the wrong person. But if they're self-motivated, they're really like, yeah, look at this. I did better this week than last week. My 3-week trend is going up as versus going down. And now they're actually encouraging and stimulating the competitiveness inside themselves to compete with themselves to get more products, better results. But it takes absolutely you as a coach, takes you as the owner to coach them to keep their eye on that ball, keep their eye on that prize. It's not, if they're focusing on their paycheck and their hours, it's the wrong flow. You are sending the wrong message and you're not wearing your hat as a CEO or clinical director appropriately.